I'm Tom.
And I'm Zeus.
And we're from Shout It Out Loudcast.
And this is Gene Simmons from Kiss.
And this is Ace Frehley. And when we want to listen to anything about football, music, Kiss, wrestling, country music, and more, we go to On the Flythe.
With Stevie Flythe and Jason Worden. Check them out.
Oh, yeah.
You are listening to On the Fly.
What's up, guys? On the Fly is back again. You haven't seen both these ugly mugs in a while, but yeah,
you've been lucky.
Yeah, we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a break. We had first of all, I want to talk a little bit about. Okay, of course, we got Worden here. Spring training. I see he's already passed his Cowboy. He's a typical Cowboy fan. He didn't waste any time getting rid of the Cowboy stuff and going straight into Cardinal land.
It's a yearly tradition. I mean, the Cardinals aren't going to be any better than the Cowboys. They're going to be an average team.
Well, you don't know. You don't know. Y'all did lose a lot, but you still might have.
Yeah, we're out in the first round like another team. Who's that?
Well, I mean, maybe you need to pick better teams.
Well, baseball is my favorite sport. I can watch two scrub teams play. I just love it. I know it's boring to a lot of people, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch baseball, but now it's like I can watch it during the playoffs. And every once in a while, if there's nothing really going on, I can sit and watch a baseball game. But yeah, it's so.
Aren't you guys gonna? There's rumors you guys are going to get an MLB team with North Carolina, right?
I've actually got an interview that I need to put up here
nice.
With the guy that's heading that up, and hopefully for long. But it'll be like I would be just as good going to see the National plays. It'll be just as far. So
the who? Oh,
Washington Nationals.
Oh, the Washington Nationals. Oh, that's what do you mean?
Baltimore, the Orioles or the Nationals. That's the distance would be the same.
Like if they had a team in North Carolina,
where they're talking about is going to be in Charlotte. So
Charlotte and Montreal, maybe, right? Because the Expos.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know. Wow, that North Carolina was that big.
Yeah, Charlotte's a ways away from us.
So that's why you probably didn't go to a lot of wrestling growing up, because it's a good drive for you, huh?
Well, I mean, they came around here.
No, gotcha.
Wrestling came to like Raleigh, Greenville. I mean, they were. Wrestling wasn't a problem. I could go to the wrestling match, but it's like the big things with the Hornets, Hornets stuff. That's a good ride. I've been to a couple.
Jordan's team, right? Jordan's team.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of Panther games, but
okay,
it's a ride. It's a ride. I did want to talk about this before we started up on other things. While we were out, I had a episode in the bag that we did with the Ozzy Osbourne Top 10 with myself, and from the Swamp Talk podcast, it was Chris Odom. We did our top 10 Ozzy songs, and we started the brackets. And I'm gonna tell you, we're actually at the round of Sweet 16 now, but the round of 32, the votes out there, I've never had a bracket where I've had so many votes on so many. Everybody is really into it, and there was. Let me see. Let me read off and see what you think about the Sweet 16 so far. What you think is going through, and of course, when I rebooted a while ago, it didn't come up, but I think I've got to say.
So was this Ozzy solo or Ozzy with Sabbath?
Ozzy solo. Ozzy solo.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and like. Each matchup had, all of them had over 100 votes, and I mean it was usually I'll get maybe 2 or 3 with 100 votes, but
that's cool.
People on Twitter are really coming around to it.
So it's
trying to
doing
pull up
better
the
than our
Ozzy.
Rod Stewart one we did, huh? We got a
Yeah,
lot of,
I mean,
we got a
it's
lot of feedback
look,
on that
obviously
one too, though.
this one is done better than any of them. I mean,
Really?
I was shocked to see.
Ozzy's big, dude. He's
Yeah.
he's an icon.
All right, hold on, it's trying to pull up here.
And I think most of our audience are mostly metalheads anyway, so it's kind of like,
Yeah. Well, I tagged a lot of folks too, and they probably were like, "What the heck is this crap? Let me vote on this just to get rid of this guy." Okay, here's the Sweet 16 right now. So, Crazy Train versus Suicide Solution.
Crazy Train. You got to go Crazy Train.
Okay. Flying High Again versus Over the Mountain.
Those are the two of my least favorite Ozzy songs. I don't like either one of those songs. Probably Over the Mountain then. Those are like two throwaway songs, Ozzy, for me. I guess they're
Flying High Again surprised me. It beat Close My Eyes Forever with Lita Ford.
Wow.
No More Tears versus You Can't Kill Rock and Roll.
No More Tears. That's just for the solo alone. God.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Road to Nowhere versus Bark at the Moon.
I got to go Bark at the Moon because that was my first Ozzy cassette.
Yeah.
That was my first Ozzy.
Mr. Crowley versus I Don't Know.
I Don't Know off Tribute or I Don't Know off the album? I don't know.
Off the
Off
album.
Tribute's great.
Yeah.
Probably I Don't Know.
I'd have to go with Crowley on that one. Hellraiser versus Shot in the Dark.
Hellraiser, I like that one. I like the Motorhead version too.
Diary of a Madman versus Goodbye to Romance.
Diary of a Madman.
Okay. Perry Mason versus Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Dude, Perry Mason is the jam. I love that song. One of my favorites.
Yeah. So that's it there. That's the Sweet 16 matchups, and we'll have them all.
So did Rock and Roll Rebel, did that lose in the first round?
That actually, I think, went to the second round. Hold on. I'll show you.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that made it to the second round and went up against Bark at the Moon.
And it lost to Bark at the Moon.
Yeah, because it beat Lightning Strikes.
Dude, Rock and Roll Rebel is my favorite Ozzy Osbourne song of all time.
And let's see.
Or not. Yeah, Rock and Roll Rebel.
I'm trying to see who else. Hellraiser just did get by I Don't Want to Stop. That was 51,
That's a good song.
51 to 49%.
I listened to that new album, like you said. It's pretty good. I dig it. I like anything with Zakk Wylde, though.
Revelation Mother Earth versus I Don't Know.
I don't know.
You like I Don't Know?
Yeah.
Okay. I like Revelation Mother
is
Earth.
Is that new?
No, that's off. Wasn't that off? That was Randy Rhoads.
No.
That was
My bad.
Randy Rhoads. Yeah.
Randy
Rhoads, yep. All right. So Super Bowl 57. Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. And first of all, let's get the national anthem out of the way. Chris Stapleton.
Awesome. Great.
Was
Beautiful.
Freaking awesome.
Made the coach cry for the Eagles.
Yeah. Well, you heard his story. He would always listen to the Whitney Houston version before a game to get emotional, to get himself pumped up. And he definitely, Chris Stapleton did a good job. I don't think he'll be listening to Whitney anymore.
Jalen Hurts does that. So the coach does that too? I heard Jalen Hurts does that.
The coach was talking about that. So Stapleton did a great job. I mean,
Stapleton's, as a songwriter, a singer, guy's awesome.
Yeah, and he got some comments, and I was, I bit my lip. No, I bit my typing finger on Twitter. Somebody posted, "What a great version of the national anthem." Somebody said, "Yeah, if you like screaming and hollering." I was like, "What?" So, I'm sure they like a whole different kind of ball game, and that's fine. If that's what you like and what you don't like.
Everybody knows we're divided politically and probably religiously in this country. We're divided on everything.
Oh yeah,
it's not just that.
Well, it came back into play later on too with Rihanna halftime show.
I thought she was great. I liked her. I'm not a Rihanna fan.
Okay, I'm not a big Rihanna fan,
but she wasn't horrible.
But it was lackluster lip syncing to me.
Yeah.
It's
like watching. It's like going to a Kiss show.
The most impressive thing to me was when they took her up in the air on that platform, and when they got her close to the camera, and then it went straight back out. I was like, okay, that's pretty impressive there. I would have been puking my guts off. And of course, she was pregnant again, evidently. So,
I that's not really like last year when they had the hip hop people were upset about that. And on there, people upset about that. I mean, we're social media is great, but it's like because everybody has an opinion now. And look at us, we're on here too. But
yeah.
That's not my type of music. But I didn't think she was horrible. And everybody was like, even I was listening to Howard Stern. Oh, she's lip singing.
Everybody lips
nowadays.
Look,
Dude.
I don't have a problem.
Music,
I don't have a problem with the lip syncing part, but some parts in there, she was just like, I mean, it was just that was what got me. The lip syncing, I know they do that. That's fine. When you have a TV performance, most of the time they're lip syncing.
She's worth over $1 billion.
And
Stephen A was talking. Stephen, yeah, none of them get paid. Stephen A. Smith was talking about that. I mean, it's like he's worth $1 billion. Wow, that's impressive. If you're a billionaire, you impress me already. I would like somebody happy to go up there and give me financial advice. That'd be a good halftime. Hey, this is how I became a billionaire. That might be a better halftime show.
What was that guy's name that was with her that time that hit her?
Chris Brown.
Where's he at now?
He's still rapping. It's funny how in our society.
Do you ever hear from?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's not in the national spotlight like he used to be.
But that was 10 years ago, though. I mean,
but
I used to play
there.
Yeah, but that's how it's amazing how some people get away with it, and like some people, one person does something and they get canceled. I guess I hate cancel culture. It's like if you don't like it, just shut it off. You don't have to shut somebody down.
Don't watch it.
I know. No, you don't like it, turn the damn channel.
Exactly.
But did you see those memes going out about her being satanic, and then the other ones
that never crossed my mind.
Her being satanic, and who's that guy that was at the Grammys and he was satanic, and I put that meme up of like, oh yeah, you think he's satanic? Check out Gene in 1977. That hold my beer.
Sam Smith. That is a beast of a different. I mean, did you see the outfit he wore to the was it the BBC Awards?
Oscars,
no, I mean all you had to do
Grammys or whatever.
No, this is one on the Grammys. This was late. This was a few days later. There was some British award show. Dude, he had something on. It was black, and it looked like he had.
Oh yeah, like a trash bag. Yeah, I saw that.
Everything was in there, but everything was poofed out here. He looked like a Oompa Loompa.
It's the Lady Gaga effect. I mean, nobody's gonna top wearing freaking raw meat to the freaking award show.
But be original. You're not trying to wear stupid stuff that looks like that to get attention.
Nothing shocking anymore. I mean, if Kiss came out today, people would be like, oh
well.
I mean,
but look, there's a difference between shock value and just looking plain stupid. And I mean, if I can pull this picture up,
shock me.
Let me see if I can pull that picture up here for everybody.
I saw it. You posted it on Facebook, did you?
Yeah, because I said, can somebody please tell me what the heck this is?
Hefty. Yeah, like a trash bag.
Wimpy. Oh no!
They got to do that. They got to do that because they got to compete. Because it's like, I mean, there's people have such short attention spans, and there's so much thrown at them. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, you sold 1 million albums. That's nothing today. Is you got 1 billion downloads. It's like, wow. There's so much competition.
Now, what the heck is that? Can you see it?
Very uncomfortable to sit down. I'll tell you that's what that is.
How do you sit down in that?
How do you go take a dump? You got to go take a dump.
I mean, dude, what is the purpose of that?
Is it a heart? Like if he does a certain way, is it a heart? I don't know either, bro.
How did they get him in that? What they must have done is got him in it, and then they must have pumped it up after he got in it. That's all I
It's,
can.
they're just trying to out weird each other, man. That's what it is.
There's and we were talking about shock value. Shock value is one thing, but just looking stupid is another. And that was all that was. Let's get back to the Super Bowl. So first half, Eagles pretty much keep the Chiefs, on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
They have a 10-point lead in the third quarter and blow it. You notice it almost came down to the so-called leaked script of the Super Bowl. It was almost the same score, but it was reversed. 38 Chiefs get the win, 38-35. Technically, yeah, that was a hold at the end, technically. But if I'm the referee in that game, and everybody's saying, well, the ball was not catchable. It doesn't matter if it was catchable on a holding call. If they called pass interference, and yeah, you had an argument there. Even the guy that got called for it said, yeah, I held. But you can hate
in the NFL, man. Every play can be called a holding. I mean, they mug people and they get away with it.
I have seen worse than that get called.
Oh yeah,
and not get called in regular games, and you're going to make that call on a little. I mean,
it's a shame it had to end that way, because you knew when that happened, it was over.
It was over, yeah, because they could run. They ran the clock out, and I mean, McKinnon did the smart move.
I personally think if Hurts hadn't fumbled that ball, I think the Eagles would have won. I think it all. Oh yeah,
that was the key play of the game.
That was the biggest mistake, and Kansas City
that was his only mistake.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah,
Hurts played his butt off. If they, and I'll tell you this too, and you may disagree with me, and I think you do disagree with me, and that's fine. Mahomes did not deserve MVP.
I disagree with you.
And that's fine.
Well, because I just look at
182 yards passing.
I look at it this way. They're not going to give the MVP to a losing. They used to back in the day.
No, I'm not saying the losing team.
There's no way in hell Kansas City would have won that game without Mahomes, and that's what makes him the MVP. That's just my take on it.
But
it's like LeBron James. He gets MVP. He doesn't deserve it.
Hold on. The thing you're looking at the MVP of that game. You're not looking at who.
Are you talking about the MVP for the season?
No, I'm talking for that game, but I'm saying the best performance of that game, and it was not him.
I think it was. No, I take it back. You're right. Jalen Hurts was the best player that day. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think. But here's another thing. I don't think it should go to the losing team. Okay, but what I'm saying on the Chiefs. If I was going to give it to somebody, because look, the last two touchdowns that he threw, you could have thrown it. I could have thrown it. Heck, my daughter could have thrown them last two touchdowns.
I don't know about me.
Stupidity on the Eagles' part. That was called assuming by the Eagles 2 times on the same play. When you got a receiver going in motion, and you assume he's going to keep going in motion, and he stops, plants, and comes back, and you don't go with him. Heck, that was just like pitch and catch there.
So who else would they give it to, Stevie?
I would have given it to, if I had a vote, I would have given it to Kadarius Toney. He caught one of those touchdowns, and he had that big punt return, and that shifted momentum. He got down to like the 3 or 4 yard line. That was a touchdown that put them ahead.
And that makes sense too, because what was that one play in that Super Bowl where it was the Patriots and they gave it to that running back that ran it in? Remember, or something like that? Didn't he win like MVP because of a play and they didn't give it to Brady? Or am I thinking they gave it to Brady?
No, I can't remember. I thought Brady.
I see your point. I see your point, but I think Patrick Mahomes is so worshipped. He's kind of like the modern day Brady. That's what.
Let me tell you this: I have to stop listening to the Pro Football Talk podcast because Chris Sims and Mike Fiorio are so far up Mahomes' butt now. I'm telling you. The NFL, and look, there's another reason they gave him MVP. The NFL knows Brady's gone. They've got to have somebody in there. And look, Chris Sims made the comment the other day, and I turned it off after that. He said that Mahomes was the top athlete in sports today.
No, that's not true.
And he said he was one of the top 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
But they do this every year. I mean, they said this about Russell Wilson a few years ago when he was winning. I mean, they're crazy.
Dude.
No,
This kid, it's not like this kid has gone and dominated every Super Bowl. He lost the Super Bowl. He got his tail kicked in the Super Bowl one year. And they're going to say he's a better Super Bowl quarterback than Montana? No.
Oh, no.
No. Don't give me that crap. But
we do agree Brady's a GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's a GOAT, but Montana, I'll say this, though. Montana was the best Super Bowl quarterback.
Not Terry Bradshaw.
No. Bradshaw was a gunslinger. Bradshaw would throw 3 touchdowns and throw 3 interceptions, but he was going to try to get the ball, make a play.
You know, I've been listening to a lot of sports radio, and I listen to I like Stephen A. I listen to him. I listen to a lot of them. And Stephen A. Stephen A's a Steeler fan. He goes, y'all not talking about Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw's a goofy, and he doesn't get a lot of the credit because he's that way.
You know, that's true, too. That is true,
and how messed up is he's calling out Andy Reid for being fat? It's like, dude,
waddle on over here.
And I love Andy Reid. I liked him when he coached the Eagles and kicking our ass. I just think, it sucks what's happened with his family. God bless him, But I mean, but they were saying that is like, how good is Mahomes though if he doesn't have Andy Reid?
Here's another thing too. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, what's your take on that, bro?
Dude, that guy, honestly, he may fall flat on his face as a head coach. He wouldn't be the first guy that was a great offensive coordinator that fell flat on his face, but give him the chance. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the deal is. I know he's a hothead. He's had issues with his attitude over the years. That went all the way back when he was at Colorado, and it's still today. And that may be part of it, but here's the thing with him right now. He's interviewing for a job as an offensive coordinator with Washington. So I think the reason being, I'm going to get away from Mahomes. I'm going to get away from Andy Reid. And if I can do it there and make that offense into something like it here is in Kansas City, and they don't offer me a job then, a head coaching job then, look, they gave a freaking special team. He wasn't even a coordinator, a special team specialist, a head coaching job in Houston. And you mean to tell me an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, but that guy knew the coach though, right? Didn't he? Weren't they buddies?
No, he got the head coaching job.
Yeah, he was a defensive coordinator for San Francisco.
No. I'm talking about Tech. This is 3 coaches again before the Texans. This guy came from Baltimore 2 years ago. Oh, Baltimore special teams. It wasn't even a coordinator. Houston hired him as a head coach with no coordinator experience. But I don't not get Bieniemy a try with.
I agree with you, but I don't know if I'd go to Washington because the Dan Snyder thing, and they're about to be sold.
They're going to be
sold. i.e. new management. They could just go ahead and you leave Kansas City and you get fired by new management.
He was going to interview with Baltimore, but Baltimore's already hired the offensive coordinator. They hired.
Hey, what do you think about that? Are they looking at bringing a college guy in with that guy from Georgia? You think they're?
I don't know. I think it's up in the air. I don't think it's a done deal with Lamar.
He turned down $205 million because he wants $230 million.
It's gone up every time they make him offer, dude.
Is he that good? Is he that good?
No.
Well, you should know he's like y'all's Philadelphia Eagles for me.
I'll tell you the honest God truth. I hope he stays because we haven't had any trouble beating them. I mean, we've lost a few games to them, but we haven't. It hasn't been like.
You know what he is? He reminds me of. He reminds me of. He didn't travel with the team. He reminds me of another Kawhi Leonard. He's just me. I mean, it's about me. He's not there for his teammates. Like when they were playing when the Clippers were in the playoffs, he was up in the skybox. He wasn't down there like a Tim Duncan or a David Robinson would be, or a player.
Yeah.
But
he's the best. I'll put it this way: he's the best running back playing quarterback in the NFL right now.
But it's honestly, bro, you got to really you can't really listen to sports media because they played that. I don't know if I sent it to you on TikTok. Everybody talking about when that wide receiver left Kansas City, how they were gonna, and that's why Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah.
That's why Travis Kelce is coming across like so much. I mean, he
That's
sat there and called out Bradshaw right there.
He's doing freaking WWE promos on.
I like both the Kelce brothers. I love their podcast. I think they're good guys. It was great seeing their mother. You know, I wasn't going for the Eagles, but man, being a Cowboy fan and you know, it's like it was hard to like cheer against Jalen Hurts and Kelce, man, because they both seem like good dudes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like the Eagles, where do they go now? Because are they going to do like the Cowboys did and give all that money to Jalen, who's way better than Dak? I'm not going there, but they're not going to have any money for anybody else.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta leave a piece. I know this is your job and you want to do well with your job, but
Mahomes,
you want to win
Mahomes. He does.
Yeah. You want to win a Super Bowl too. You want to get to that. You want to get where you didn't get this past time. So you need to leave a little bit. You say, okay, I'm gonna take this, and I'll leave this out so you can give me some weapons. Keep my weapons.
See, that's Dallas's problem now.
You
were asking me why they're going to extend him. They have no choice. They have to extend him to free up money to the cap. I mean, it's ridiculous. They should have never gave him that much money. He's not worth that much.
Well, they didn't want him to leave at the time. And Jerry,
he ain't leaving now. That's for sure.
Exactly.
They got their wish.
You got your wish. He's not leaving.
I don't know, man. I had a little bit of fun. I even posted that one about how he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And say what you want to about Dak off on the field, but man, seems like he does a lot of good off the field, like a lot of the guys do. But that was a funny meme. Well, Philly, I left the Super Bowl with the trophy, and you didn't. Yeah, you got to give the Cowboys something. But I was telling an Eagle friend of mine, you know what? I think the Cowboy fans would have booed. They probably would have booed Hurts. They hate each other. Oh
yeah, it would. You would have, no doubt about it. But he still did not get the loudest boos of the night. That went to LeBron James.
He deserved it though.
Because he shows his face on the screen, and I'm talking about.
Did you see that shit he did with the putting the crown on his head?
Crown, yes. I mean, Philly fans, Kansas City fans, they all booed him, and he wonders why he gets that kind of reaction. I wonder why.
He's a guy that I tried for so long to defend because it was cool. He brought the ring back, but man, I got to know him not personally, but we had a game here against the Spurs, and the air conditioner went out. Welcome to Texas, right? It's 115 degrees outside in the middle of June. And he was, they're trying to hurt me. It's like, dude, nobody's trying to hurt you. He started cramping up because the game was out of control. And I like to say this: the Spurs ended that dynasty with the not one, not two, the Heat. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they were lucky that freaking Ron Artest or Ray Allen. I'll never get over that loss. But it's like, I try to defend him, and then he's mad at Jerry Jones for some reason. He didn't do enough for Colin Kaepernick. It's like,
no, he's mad that, and what was it? A picture. It was a picture of Jerry Jones from like 40 or 50 years ago. Yeah,
he was a kid. Even Stephen A. defended him on that.
You're being ridiculous there.
Yeah, but he just does. And then when the greats don't call themselves great,
no, they don't have to.
No, Jordan never said that. Kareem never said
it.
And he may go down as the greatest player of all time, but he's kind of a lot like Brady. It's not that he was probably the best; that he was around the longest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jordan's always number one for me. That new movie looks good too.
Yeah, that's going to be something we have to watch there too. But yeah.
Eagles. How do you think they do next year? Do you think Kansas City's going to be around?
They're losing some coordinators. They've got some free agency stuff to handle.
There's a rumor Kelsey's going to retire. That's a big rumor.
Well, he said he was going to sit at home for a few weeks. He said, I'm going to recharge my batteries before I even think about next year. So it's possible he could retire, but
yeah, he said he loves his brother, but man, that was tough, man. And he said out there, he said, and you see these players that you see these teams like a LeBron, they lose a game, like a
They're
series,
gone.
there's
They're
nowhere
gone.
to go. Then you see these players that sit out. You sit there and watch them celebrate because that can be you next year.
Yep.
I mean, Kansas City, a lot of people hate them, but they beat the odds. They had a chip on their shoulder. The Burrowhead stuff, they played with a purpose. And
that's why you don't give a team bulletin board material. You don't do that.
And I think that just that Jalen Hurts fumble, I don't think it was the penalties. I think it was that fumble. I think that's what changed the game.
Yeah. I had a guy that was on a Facebook group that night, and the second fumble it wasn't a fumble, that the one Kansas City took back for a touchdown, the second time it got called back. Yeah, 20 years ago, or maybe not 20 years ago, but back in the 80s, that was a fumble and that would have been a touchdown. The rules today, no, he didn't make a football move, and I could not get through this guy's head. And one guy finally come up there and said, "You're both right." He said, "Back in the day, that would have been a fumble. It's not."
So that's the reason why the second one was called a catch, because he made a football move. Is that what you mean?
No, the second one was called what? No, he didn't. Oh, you talking about the Dallas Goddard?
Yeah,
that's
that
another
one
problem.
Because he moved a couple feet. Is that why?
Yeah, that's another problem I have.
That's almost like the Dez rule, isn't it? The Dez rule, he got penalized for moving forward. Dez
bothered me, and everybody talks about the whole, Kansas City. They're pushing Kansas City to win, and believe me, I've loved football since I was 5 years old.
Pushing Kansas City to win?
NFL. Now listen to me. Just hear me out. When you get the AFC Championship game, they got two chances to convert a third down. They stopped the play. I mean,
that one I agree with. That one against Cincinnati. Cincinnati got robbed. I totally agree.
Okay.
You do not do that.
3rd and 9.
Let the play go through.
Exactly. Now listen to me here. Dallas Goddard catches the ball. They rule it a catch. The Eagles come up to the line, and they're going to do it. They're trying to rush it to the line.
Oh yeah, that's what
they
you do.
They snap the ball.
Yes.
The referees throw a flag.
Yes. I didn't get that either.
And you know what the call was? We didn't allow the Chiefs a chance to substitute. So you stop that play. Of course, Andy Reid throws a red flag, and it ended up getting called a catch. But I
thought it would be past that. I thought that was past that because they didn't allow him, but the play still continued, so he shouldn't have been able to throw that flag.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
There's, but believe me, buddy, I don't want to think that the NFL is coming down to stuff like that, but it's
if NFL pushed anybody, it should be the Cowboys because they're the most valuable franchise. Give us a break. We'll take the script.
They've got to get somebody up there in that position to take Brady's spot.
So you don't think that Mahomes has a chance to be as good as Brady?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's way too soon to be talking about.
Even he said it. We're not a dynasty yet. He said it.
It's way too soon. And look, I don't dislike the guy, but when you keep pushing this guy on me, like
you just hate Grover, dude. You just hate the Muppets, man. You just hate Grover.
Well, that's true.
Or Sarah Gilbert from Roseanne.
Yeah, that was a better one. But when you're trying to shove somebody down my throat, I'm like, come on, dude.
They're gonna do that.
It's coming. That's why I'm saying. And I told several people.
They did that with the. You know what I said about this year? They did that with Miami. They kept talking about Miami. Then I looked at their records, that's like 5 in a row.
Yeah.
But Dallas, comes close to winning the division, but Dak is not that good sometimes. Dak gets more criticism than he deserves. Because you have all
with that, but
then again, you're out for 4 or 5 games and you still have the most interceptions. So some of it's deserved, but Dak, it's like CeeDee Lamb said, they got to do like the Eagles. They got to put all those weapons around him. I mean, you can't get rid of a great wide receiver because Jerry Jones is an idiot. Allegedly. I don't want to be Brett Favre here and get sued like Pat McAfee. Allegedly.
Oh,
and we got to start doing that when do we got to start doing that when we make comments? Allegedly, do we got to start doing that, man?
Evidently. We're gonna be sued.
I mean, if Brett Favre sues us, man, we may be broke, but we'll get some more listeners, right? Hey, let's check out On the Fly.
It'll be worth it. Anyway, so yeah, that
great game.
It was.
It was a great game. Another thing I'm tired of, like you are about Mahomes. This wasn't the greatest Super Bowl ever. There's no. I mean, it's like it was a great game that was very marred, and I mean, I think one of the greatest games was when Brady came back against the Falcons. That was great.
That was a great one.
I mean,
yeah.
but this was
not. Yeah, I mean,
it was a sad. It was a sad that a team had to lose because, as much as, and I told you in texting, I was wrong about the Eagles, except for the defense, because Dak tore them up. So I knew their defense wasn't all that great.
Defense got tired.
Yeah.
Tired.
Yeah. And
I didn't think that was happening. As much as they rotate defensive linemen in, I didn't think they'd get tired, but they got tired.
But you would think Kansas City's defense got tired because Mahomes wasn't on the whole third quarter. He was. It was crazy. That time of possession, man. That was just amazing.
Yeah, and they were. I had a feeling when they had that, but they were only up by 3, and they kept talking about time of possession. I said, this game is getting ready to change right here.
Part of me, I hope Hurts does the right thing, and it doesn't take all the money, but part of me wants Hurts to take all the money.
Yeah, I know why I want him to, because you don't want any weapons for him to throw when he plays.
That O-line for the Eagles is massive. My God, I was looking at that. It's like, oh my God.
They are.
And I remember I'm 6'1", and I remember I tried out for football. Dude, I was a freaking shrimp compared to some of these dudes.
Yeah.
It's like, but it was
you
great.
I was 5'6".
You're 5'6"?
I played offensive line and defensive line. And so everybody I went up against was bigger than me. And I knew I couldn't outrun anybody.
You know the whole reason I didn't play football in high school?
Why?
I was an only child till I was 13. I didn't like showering other dudes.
Luckily, I lived across the street from the school, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Of course, I would have played baseball, and at 50 years old, I'd probably still be in the minors.
Dude, maybe not.
We got to talk a little. Speaking of Travis Kelce and his know your role. I mean, we got to talk a little wrestling.
I got a little. I'm gonna talk about this guy. This guy that's a member of our Facebook group, Brian Crizale. I don't know if you've seen him or not, but he's a member of the group, and he messaged me about a theory he had about what might happen with WWE. It makes sense, but it would be. I mean, if they pulled it off, it would be pretty monumental.
Can I ask you something? Is having to do with Disney?
No,
okay.
no,
Okay.
nothing with any company. This is all about the wrestlers.
The wrestlers.
So, yeah, it's all about a storyline.
So you're talking about not the purchase of the company.
No.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No. The whole bloodline storyline, Sami Zayn's out. And Cody Rhodes is fighting Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. There's talk that it may end up being a triple threat match now. Sami Zayn might. And he said, what if the whole thing's a setup? Sami Zayn is still in the bloodline, turns on Cody and gets the match for Roman Reigns. I was like,
what happens at the Elimination Chamber though?
Well, they could still set it up. They could, but that was interesting. That would be a good.
I thought that too.
But now I think the way you're going to see at WrestleMania, I think you're going to see Sammy and Kevin Owens against the Usos at WrestleMania. I think that's how it's going to work.
The Usos can't go to Canada, right? Both of them have DWIs. They're not allowed in Canada. That's why.
I think they got cleared.
Oh, that's why
you did hear something like that.
And I think you're right, because did you watch SmackDown? Heyman, you guys just stay home. Roman's got this at Elimination Chamber.
They may stay home because of that. But
I think that's setting it up for Jay to turn on Sammy. I think you're right. I think you're right. That's almost too easy So
Yeah.
Triple H is a lot smarter than us in booking way. But I listened to Busted Open, and they were talking about, everybody thinks, it's a given that Cody's going to win at WrestleMania. What if he doesn't?
If he does it, then I'll be kind of disappointed there. I mean, it's time to get it. If you don't want to get it out for Roman, but just for a little while, have a transitional champion or something like that.
But
I
think it's like when Brock Lesnar had the title. I think it makes your product look. There's like one dominant champion and nobody can beat him.
Yeah,
like Flair would lose all the time because he was champion. Now you got to have these 7-year reigns. I mean, Bruno Sammartino was.
They haven't had. It's longer. This has been the longest reign I've seen in a long time. Hogan held it for 4 years. I think that was the longest.
Yeah, but Hogan never wrestled.
Hogan wrestled once every 30 days. It seemed like
that was in his contract. Remember that he had to show.
Well, I mean, you got to. It's supposed to be. That's supposed to be an unwritten rule. A champion has to defend the title every 30 days. So
Yeah, but talking about the bloodline, all that stuff. The Royal Rumble, man, that was the biggest gate they've had. The Royal Rumble. It was sold out. The Alamo Dome's pretty damn huge. They had that just a couple weeks before. They had that Spurs game against the Warriors. It was the biggest NBA record. But I think it's either George Strait or the Dallas Cowboys have the record for that stadium. 73.
I think it's George Strait.
I think George Strait broke the Cowboys record.
Yeah,
it was the Cowboys against the Houston Oilers. That's how long ago it was, like in the 90s.
Gosh.
And this was a preseason game too.
Yeah, because it used to be the Cowboys always played the Houston Oilers in preseason.
Yep.
But
I think you're right. I think it's going to be the Usos versus.
I think it's going to end up.
I think it's stupid to keep the belts on him. I mean, they don't do that for the women. You have Charlotte and that other. What's her name? Bianca.
I don't know. I've got some thoughts on that whole Roman Reigns thing, but I don't get keeping it on him this long.
I'm just glad that Austin's not going to wrestle. I'm glad last year was a one-off.
No.
I think Kevin Owens was a perfect opponent. I think they were both great. I mean, Kevin Owens helped him a lot, but that was a one and done. I think he knows that. He made a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that again.
I mean, he can have a run in the ring every once in a while, but as far as a full-blown match.
Do a stunner every once in a while. Exactly. Even his stunners are like, man, like that one. It was a critical when he gave Pat McAfee that stunner. Boy, I heard an interview with Pat McAfee said, I wasn't expecting that. I had to play it off. They said, that was pretty funny.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw. I posted it tonight. The Miz.
Mm-mm.
I think he had a match the other night on Raw against Rick Boogs. I think that's his name.
Who?
Rick Boogs. Yeah, he's a new guy.
The Miz is an old school heel. I like his character.
This tells you. I mean, you gotta love the Miz because this tells you he got left in the ring after a finisher, and somebody was filming from the crowd, and even the guys came to the ring for some reason to change the skirt and change the mat in the ring real quick, and the Miz was still selling while they were changing the mat. He was still laying in the ring like motionless, and finally when they come up to him, he raised up and looked at the guy like, yeah, he sold that the whole time. After the commercial, after they went to a commercial, he was still selling. So yeah, Miz is great. I love Miz.
I think he has the hottest wife in wrestling. Girl's gorgeous.
Well, I'd say one of them.
Who's the other one?
I mean, I can't think of them. I'm not going to pin it down to just Maurice, but one of them. You see Edge tap his wife on the butt, and she did it 2 nights in a row. She got mad the second night.
She's scary looking, man.
Well, she puts herself out there because she's supposed to be the Glamazon. But anyway,
I just couldn't believe. I couldn't believe. I remember seeing Edge. I remember Edge saying, "Oh, he was with her." I'm like, really? You had Lita, man. God, Lita was hot. But I mean, it's like
that didn't pan out.
My favorite female wrestlers, 2 of them, Britt Baker, and then I like the man. I love her accent. She's funny.
Becky
Hey,
Lynch.
did you see that? I don't know if you saw it, but that Raw 30, we had kind of talked about Ric Flair, how he's kind of just been caught. He had that run, like he had that real bad with her. He said he apologized to both her and Seth. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
And you see,
I
and
saw that.
Rick's been like, you see those clips. I don't know if you listen to his podcast. We seem to mellow a lot. He's like,
I hope he has.
I do, because he was unlistable there for a while, man. And it's like,
Yeah,
he said that him and Triple H had a falling out.
yeah,
And they were both
he's
talking
had
about their near-death experiences.
He's had a falling out with everybody in the last, and that, I mean,
and Arn Anderson too, your boy.
yeah, and you got to think. I mean, you just went through near death.
You don't need to be wrestling.
You don't need to be wrestling. You don't need to be having a falling out with these people that were like your best friends. I mean,
especially at his age.
You think about it, because you don't. Once it's over, it's over. I mean, you don't.
He's damn lucky to have Wendy. That's a hell of a woman to stick by
Yeah.
him. A lot of women wouldn't have done that.
Well, she left him once, and she came back. So
That son of a bitch is still drinking like a sailor.
that's what I don't get, dude. I mean, that's his life. His life. It's his choice. But you go through all that.
Yeah, I'm 50. I'll be 51 this year. I don't drink like I used to. That guy's what, 70? I mean, it's like, God, is there ever a time, like we go on these cowboy buses? You got these old guys. I mean, it's like I was in my 20s and 30s. Like, damn, I don't drink that much now.
No.
I mean, I've just never been an alcoholic.
Sometimes you got to grow up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to grow up and put that stuff away.
I was watching the Super Bowl, Stevie, and you know what ranch water is? You heard of ranch water? It's kind of like I was sitting there and I was just enjoying the Super Bowl. You know, of course, the Eagles were, it's a good game. And man, and it's like, I had like about 4 or 5. I was like, damn, I was hungover the whole day Monday. It's like I had the mighty have fallen, brother. The mighty have fallen.
All right. So, you know what? We haven't even talked about what the topic is tonight. We haven't even mentioned it tonight. This has been sports hour or sports entertainment hour on the fly. But tonight we're going to do our top 10 favorite foreigner songs. And, you talk about Foreigner, and first of all, how did you get into Foreigner?
I got into Foreigner like I did Rod Stewart and the Stones. My mom listened to him growing up. I remember she had, I remember Rod Stewart from the 70s, Stones from the 70s, but I remember she had this little greatest hits called Records, which is probably still one of the greatest, greatest hits of all time. And, I just remember it was late 70s, early 80s. And I just remember Foreigner was huge. I mean, I don't think you realize how big Foreigner was. I went back and kind of did, and they were massive in the 70s. And the 80s they had a good run too. But yeah, I just growing up, it's kind of like where I got my Rod Stewart and Stones bug. I mean, it's funny, me and how much I love Journey. And my buddy Brett we would talk about Journey and stuff, and he goes, I don't get how you like Foreigner
and
but you don't like Journey.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no. But I mean, I get what he's saying. They're both kind of that same band, but one is good and one is not. So it's great.
Oh, Lord.
I had to go there.
I know you had to go there, but how many?
How about you? How'd you get into them?
Actually, kind of the same thing as you, except it was my brother. He had, for some reason, and I can't remember. So this was 81. I think it was 81, 82. He went, I guess he had got a job cutting grass. So he bought Foreigner Records and Foreigner 4 on cassette. And, he played them on his, of course, a lot of times you didn't have headphones prevalent like you do these days. Everybody has headphones. You get the headphones with your phone most of the time. But yeah, he played it a lot, and I just thought, okay, that's pretty good. And I mean, Foreigner 4, that's the, I don't care what people say, that's the iconic Foreigner album for me. I mean, I guess it all depends on when you came in with Foreigner, but Foreigner 4 is like the best Foreigner album in my opinion. From top to bottom, because I listened to it top to bottom so many times. But back then, You didn't have, okay, I can click this button and play this song, and then I can go. I don't have to listen to all these. You had to listen to pretty much the whole thing.
Radio, a lot of them too.
Yeah.
And the 8-tracks are even worse.
Oh yeah, I couldn't stand the 8-track.
But, it's fun. There's funny. There was on the and I'll talk about this on the records my mom had. She had like the original cassette. It's not like on the Spotify or Apple Music ones now, but there was a live version of Hot Blooded. It wasn't the studio version. It was like, I guess they wanted to go live, I guess the original pressing.
Right.
And it's so funny. That was so good. And it was like, I don't like when I hear the original, the Hot Blooded, it's too slow. Yeah. And so we'll talk about that one, but yeah. But
I guess Hot Blooded is on your list.
It's on my honorable mentions. Oh,
sure. Play it off.
It's like I don't know if you ever saw. They did a Foreigner Behind the Music, and they were talking to Jerry Cantrell, and he was saying, "Yeah, for the longest time, I thought you said hot-blooded chicken and sea or something like that instead of check it and see."
Oh my god!
But this live version of Foreigner of the Hot-Blooded, Lou Graham talks in a British accent. It's like I didn't know he was British.
Lou Graham was on one of those rock cruises singing Foreigner songs. He's got
some kind of disease. I think Eddie Trunk had him on that he just bloats up. Poor guy.
Yeah, he didn't have many kind words to say on Eddie Trunk about Kelly Hansen.
Who's Kelly Hansen?
Kelly Hansen, the current
Hurricane.
Yeah. He didn't have many nice things to say. He said he was pretty much copying him. And he didn't get, during the reunion, he didn't give him a chance to talk.
Okay. The guy that sings for Journey is copying Steve Perry. I got to give the guy from Foreigner no. He does no.
I don't think so either.
I don't, because no, I don't. But it's pretty sad though. There's one original member and he don't even play with them sometimes.
He comes out. Mick Jones comes out for one song, waves bye to the audience, and then leaves. I mean, because his health won't let him do it.
And you don't think our buddy Gene and Paul, hey, look what
we can do that. But they're not. When they go, buddy, it's going to be.
I checked out on Foreigner back when Lou Graham left. They did a reunion tour back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to go. They were playing SeaWorld, but I had to work. I didn't get to go. And then he left and he kind of came back. But they were here actually at the Majestic, the new Foreigner. And that I Want to Know What Love Is. They had one of the high schools I worked for, one of our district, their choir did that with them. I thought it was pretty cool. They had on our Madison choir. It was Foreigner. I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. They haven't had a new album since 2009, so there's been no new stuff coming out from them. But the current lineup, Mick Jones, who, like we said, one shot,
hey, Stevie, Mick Jones.
Yeah. Jeff Pilson, who has been in several bands, Docking. Most known for Docking.
Lynch Mob too, right?
Yeah, I think, but he's been in so many. I mean, dude, this guy's got a who's list of like super groups. Kelly Hansen, Michael Bluestein, never heard of him. Bruce Watson on rhythm lead guitars, and then Chris Frazier on drums, and then Louis Maldonado on rhythm guitar. So you're looking at the former members, and there's, good Lord, I'm looking at this. Jason Bonham was in there for a while, for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, he played drums for 4 years. Brian Tichy played drums with him.
Bless you.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are dead, aren't they? Didn't one of the drummers die
recently? A lot of the original ones are gone. Yeah. I mean, it's
I remember my buddy Brett. We were talking about that. I think I bought what's the one with them on the front? Is it Head Games, I guess, or one of them? They're in the front on.
I think Double Vision's the one.
Double Vision, maybe all of them. And my buddy Brett was telling me this is back in the 90s, and he was like, and he goes, man, you know what's one thing about MTV is before MTV is dudes like this that were probably the ugliest band in history, and they were big because you didn't see them on TV.
Yeah, you couldn't.
That's what Christopher Cross said. I was listening to 80s on 8, and Mark Goodman was saying, it's like, yep, I had a big hit, MTV hit, and nobody wanted to hear my music anymore.
Yep, it was.
I don't know if Foreigner's the ugliest band in history. I mean, they belong to Motorhead, but you know.
Oh,
but he's got a point. I mean, pre-MTV, nobody cared. Yeah. Oh, Grim Reaper. Oh, God.
Yeah. Grim Reaper was some ugly dudes, but
we still got to do we still got to do the Satanic Panic episode, bro. Like so many stories. Grim Reaper's one of them.
Yeah, they were some ugly dudes. All right, so let's get right into this.
I guess we'll just do our top. Let's do our top 10.
Yeah.
And then we'll do our honorable mentions, like always.
Yeah, we'll do our honorable mentions.
My number 10, very 80s. I think we've.
I'll go ahead and before we start, I'll go ahead and tell people out there this is probably my most boring list because you're not going to have many, if any, deep cuts on my list.
Oh, I agree, but that's how Foreigner is. They're
once you get past the hits, it's not like okay.
Foreigner is like Journey in a lot of ways that it's what you see is what you get. You know, I mean, they don't have no anarchy in the UK. You know, I mean, they don't. No deep tracks like Primal Scream, like Motley does or whatever.
Right. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go good. 80s, and I didn't really research on what album it was on. It's just my list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I made this list. I mean, how many weeks have we been trying to get this, Steve? Yeah, life got in the way.
It's been a month.
That was yesterday. I mean, how many of us, have that relationship? We think about that was yesterday. Great, a lot of synthesizers, keyboards, big 80s. Love Lou Graham's voice on this. I mean, that was yesterday. I mean, it's not like you said, it's not an exciting list. So that's my number 10.
That is one of my honorable mentions. But yeah, that is a great song. So my number 10, debut album, and I've got a good mixture of. I think 70s and 80s. I'm looking right here. 70s, it's a good mixture. So, but from the debut album, Long Way From Home. If you listen to first thing I was listening today to like at work, I was listening to the Foreigner Essentials, and Long Way came on, and one of the things I listen to, and whenever I hear it, I don't know how big of a Friends TV show guy you are, but this has got Ross Geller keyboards on it at the start of it when he goes does that little intro, and every time I think about Ross Geller, but the lyrics refer to a person leaving a small town to try to succeed in New York City. One of the things they say, I left a small town for the apple in decay and the loneliness he feels there. According to Lou Graham, the lyrics are autobiographical, reflecting his experience moving from Rochester to New York City. And this was, they both had stated, Graham and Jones have both stated this was the first song they worked on together. So charted, reached number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1978. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got some from the 70s, some from the 80s. A lot of that had to do with the records cassette that we had, because that was perfect at a perfect time for me, because when I heard 4 and 4, and that was the big thing with Waiting for a Girl Like You on there, and I was like, okay, let's listen to records so we can hear some more Foreigner stuff. I wanted everything I could, and that was the best way to do it with a greatest hits record. But yeah, long way from home for me.
I don't know. You may hear about this one later.
Okay, I got you.
Speaking of greatest hits, there was a push like in the 90s. Seemed like everybody was coming out with the greatest hits,
Yeah.
And I remember this one coming out, and I remember hearing the first song on the album, and I'm thinking, man, I dig me some Fast Foreigner. And it was pretty cool. I just wish it had more guitars, but I mean, it's heavy on keyboards. Soul Doctor. It was one of the new tracks off The Very Best and Beyond.
Okay.
It was a greatest hits, and had in a lot of bands they would like, Kiss did that with smashes, There was like a gluttony of like greatest hits coming out in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh yeah.
And this was one of them. I think this early 90s right here. This came out. And I just remember thinking, wow, this is kind of different than what Foreigner's ever done. I mean, it was fast Foreigner.
Yeah. That is different, especially at that time, because Foreigner went through a period in the 80s where they liked to write a lot of wedding songs.
Oh God.
And
that's when when that song was so huge, that's when I checked out on them, because I started getting into like AC/DC around that time. It's like, hey, what happened to this rock band? Soul Doctor. That's one of my deep cuts, because I guarantee you there are a lot of people going, Soul Doctor. I never heard that one.
Yeah,
I bet you a lot of people haven't heard that one.
That did not make my list or the honorable mention. So again, I'm going to go with my number 9 is going to be this is off. Which one is this off? 4, of course. Urgent. Yeah, I mean, you think about this. We've talked several times about this guy, but Foreigner 4, probably, like I said, the best Foreigner album. Guess who the producer was? Mud Lang.
Yep.
And
none of these bands, including his ex-wife, have been the same since he doesn't produce them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think I have really been a fan of anything. Maybe AC/DC, maybe Def Leppard, but man, you just talk about, God, can you imagine if you would have worked with Kiss? I mean, that never would have happened because they're control freaks. But God, dude, you think about our childhood and how much that guy like was part of our childhood, Mutt Lange. It's amazing.
Of course. I don't know if you're something they did on this, but you remember the saxophone solo? Mm-hmm. Junior Walker. That's Junior Walker doing that. He's an older saxophone player that they wanted. That's
an awesome solo.
They said when they did the song, they wanted a Junior Walker style sax solo, and they were recording one night, took a break. One of the members was reading the Village Voice, said that Walker was performing a show that was like a few blocks down. So they go down to where he's playing and ask him to go, would you consider doing the saxophone solo for the song we're doing? He comes in, does it, goes back out. That first take.
Oh, wow.
But
did he like kind of like Eddie Van Halen, huh?
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen beat it. It has an R&B sound to it, and they said it was kind of a musical departure for them, and many of the people that listened to it didn't recognize it as Foreigner when they first heard it, and a few people were trapped into liking it before they found out who it was.
I don't know how you can say that, because that voice is just so distinct.
Oh, I mean, if it's Lou Graham's voice, I don't.
Yeah, I
don't know how you didn't know that was Foreigner. Everybody knew that was Foreigner. But I did find out something doing my research about why they called it Foreigner 4. You know why they called it Foreigner 4?
It was their 4th album?
4th album, and there was another thing too. They had 6 members of the band, and right before they started recording, 2 of the members left, so they went with 4 there. So they said it was an omen. 4th album, 4 members, we're going to call it 4. So.
God, how dumb are those guys?
Yeah, they leave right before the biggest record.
I mean, those albums before that were pretty big, but when they, especially around the time they hit like, records, I mean, God.
Yeah. It was. So my number 9 is Urgent.
Number 8. This is a song I sing to Stevie.
Oh God.
All the time.
I'm scared.
It's you're about to lose someone, man. I don't want to live without you. I think this is this. I mean, you probably know more. I mean, like I said, I wrote this list a while back.
Yeah.
This is like 80s Foreigner, right? You can tell.
This is 80s.
I mean, this is like
after.
This is like along their wedding period, I guess. It's like, hey, let's get married after all. I don't want to lose you.
This was 87.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So this is probably the latest. This is probably the latest Foreigner. I'd already checked out on them,
hit.
I want to know what love is. When I checked out, I was like 6th grade. I was more into Madonna and stuff like that. And yeah, it's that voice. I mean, it's just, you imagine being Lou Graham, being able to sing that to a woman, man. She's yours, dude, with that voice.
That we'll talk about that a little bit later on my list too. I'm a sucker for a ballad. So.
Oh yeah. I know you're a sucker.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Stevie, I don't want to live without you.
Number 8. Excuse me. Another. I guess this was off. This was in the 70s. Cold as Ice. Written by Lou Graham, Mick Jones. It went to number 6 on the Billboard Top 100. And it says, song describes a woman who's materialistic and selfish with a single warning that her behavior will come back to haunt her someday. Wow. We've
never met anybody like that, have we, Stevie?
No. Mick Jones said, subconsciously you draw from stuff, things that happened in your past, things that came out of a relationship. The pain and the heartache of love is intense and then so deep, and then suddenly you lose it. The whole gamut of emotional feeling that you go through in a relationship. Sometimes they end and sometimes they last, and when the final breakup, you're left with the memories of that relationship. So I go for that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's pretty deep, man.
Yeah, doing this research and stuff. He's got a lot to say about these songs. And this song has been played a lot. I mean, Stranger Things had it, The Flash, Supernatural, King of Queens, and there was actually a rap version of this song. They sampled this song for the rap duo. I've never heard of them, M.O.P. And it was the same name. They had a rap song called Cold as Ice, which they sampled the song in, but I'm sure it's not as good. I'm gonna have to check that out.
This one did not make this made my honorable mention, and it probably didn't make my top 10 list because this is like my history of my love life. And I think because this song goes into my number 7 of having cold as ice women, my number 7 is Double Vision. That's a song about getting messed up, and it's probably over a cold as ice bitch. You there, it's like, I want to sit around till I can't see straight. Who's been there?
Yeah.
Fill my eyes and my double vision. Yes.
You're gonna think I'm lying here, but that's my number 7. That's my number 7 too.
Oh well, hey.
So yeah,
I think a lot of our songs are a lot alike. I mean, they're like so far is Soul Doctor. That's the only one really that that we haven't had in common. So yeah, you said it.
You know where the inspiration for this song came from?
No. A bitch who's cold as ice.
No. Double Vision. They wrote this, Lou Graham and Mick Jones, of course. Can you name any of the other original members of Foreigner? I can't either. Not without looking, not without cheating. They wrote this song after seeing the New York Rangers goalie John Davidson get knocked out during the 1977 Stanley Cup playoffs. Mick Jones said that's where the title came from. We were at a hockey game. I was an avid Rangers fan in those days, and Lou and I went to a game. The goaltender for the Rangers got a concussion, and it was announced over the PA that he was taken off and was suffering from double vision.
Oh, wow.
He said, I'd never heard that term before, and we picked up on it.
There's a song.
And then that led to the title for the song. I know it was received by a majority of the public as a drug song. I didn't mind that. It wasn't the intention in the beginning, but that's how a lot of people interpreted it.
That's how I took it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that came from actually a hockey game. Double Vision. That's my number 7 as well.
So you're telling me this could have been Troy Aikman's song back in the 90s when he had all those concussions?
Troy Aikman probably had triple vision.
Yeah, no kidding.
All
right. Stevie, make up your mind. Just make up your mind. Say you will. Just say you will.
Say you will. Okay.
Yeah, say you will. Say you will. Say you. Make up your mind to. Just another great fast and kind of a fast tempo song. This is 80s. This is definitely 80s, right? Definitely. Early 80s, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So say you will.
Mid-80s.
Say you will. I kind of like that when he does that. I think this is the one where he kind of does the double vocals in the back. There's like it's overdubbed.
Yep,
It
is.
I like
That's
that part.
That is a honorable mention for me. So, but yeah, it is a good song. That's on the essentials too. I've heard that several times today.
A lot of the songs that were in my top 10 were in the essentials, but except for Soul Doctor, I had to like find it because I guess Very Best and Beyond's out of print. So that's what I hate about kind of streaming is like Coverdale Page that's not on streaming anymore, and it's like all the Great Whites, all the Great Whites disappeared. It's like wow, and Slaughter. It's like because I had these mixes, and it's like these albums are missing. I'm like I have to go back and find the CDs I have.
Yes, there's a lot of when I do this album challenge. There's a lot of there's actually some albums that there's one song that you can't find anymore. Just one song, and I'm like, are you freaking? So my number 6.
I couldn't find Pride and Joy. It wasn't even on it was on a Whitesnake's greatest hits that came out in the 90s. It wasn't even on that. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Damn record companies.
Yeah. How dare they? My number 6 a repeat. I don't know if you had this at number 8. I didn't write this down what you had. But it's I Don't Want to Live Without You.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's from Inside Information, 1987. And Jones has rated it as one of his favorite Foreigner songs of all time.
Really?
It came out after it was a follow-up single to Say You Will. It peaked at number 5.
Must have made a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but there's still 2 ahead of him. 2 ahead of that did better, a lot better than that. But it peaked at number 5. So it says that Mick Jones had fashioned a lush and emotional trap for Lou Graham's well-measured singing, and that if you loved I Want to Know What Love Is, you'll flip for this one. I mean, look, Mick Jones is no dummy. He knew the times. And when we talk about, they started writing wedding songs. Well, I mean, after Waiting for a Girl Like You, I mean, that was a big song for them, all 4 and a 4. And then even bigger, I Want to Know What Love Is. When that happened, so, Mick Jones is like, okay, this worked before. This worked twice before. Let's do this again.
If it ain't broke,
don't fix it. Until something changes, don't worry about it. But that is number. I Don't Want to Live Without You is a great song.
Plus, we got to remember he's one of the ones that produced 5150.
5150. A lot of people don't realize.
A lot of people argue the best Sammy Van Halen, which I don't. It's not my favorite, but
not my favorite.
It's great.
It's good. It's really
a lot of good hits on that album.
All right, number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me. Head Games.
Head Game.
I remember the album. It had a lot of drama because there was a girl that was in a urinal, I guess, sitting down in a urinal.
Yeah.
And her name is actress Liz-Leanne Falk.
Never heard of her.
She was in Heathers. She was one of the Heathers in my vast research.
Wow.
But that's her. And she just, I think, is she still alive? I don't know if she's still alive or not. But yeah, that was real controversial about a girl. I remember seeing it like, what's a girl doing in the? I mean, honestly, dude, when you see a girl in a men's restroom, I mean, she's either got to go or she's playing head games,
Yeah.
So, Liz-Leanne Falk, she was in Heather. She was one of the. She wasn't like Doherty or Winona Ryder, but I remember her. She was one of them. And I looked it up, and she looks nothing like. And I always kind of thought the girl looked underage. That was probably some of the big controversy, but she was already like in her 20s when she did it.
Hey, I see her now up here. She had to be. Wow. Leslie Falk. Is that her name?
Liz-Leanne, Lisanne, Falk.
All right, spell that again.
Lisanne, Lisanne, I guess. Lisanne Falk, Falk.
Yeah, I see her now.
She was in Heathers.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Heather McNamara in Heathers. Okay.
Only thing I remember about Heathers is those two guys that they had shoot each other,
How
and
old
that
was she?
and that one girl who drank that drink and she fell through the glass table.
Dude, you know how old she was when she did the Foreigner cover?
She young?
She was 15. She was
Yeah.
born in 64. The album Head Games came out in 79.
That's probably why there's controversy.
I would think so. That may have been where the
Still,
controversy comes from.
still not as bad as the Scorpions album cover.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking
It's
about.
a thing that those guys aren't in jail for that album cover.
Exactly. But
Yeah,
anyway.
this one was kind of weird to me. I was like, what are they thinking?
Head Games is on my honorable mentions, but did not make my top 10. So my number 5 is, and did I just go away from that on my list up here? Hold on.
You just
Blue Morning, Blue Day. You know, I was
that off
not,
4 too? That's off 4 too, isn't it?
no, that's
not-
off. Hold on, if you hadn't asked me, could have
I thought it was off 4. My bad.
No, that's off Double Vision.
Okay.
So Blue Morning, Blue Day. I mean, this was one song that I guess up until recently I hadn't really paid attention to. And going through, it's been a few years back, going through, I guess, like playing Foreigner Essentials or something like that. I hear this song and I'm like, where did this come from? Because I'd heard every other song except that. Where did this one come from? And I got to listen to it more and more. And I started liking it. I mean, the sound of it, of course, Lou Graham's voice, but it talks about a young musician that's burning a candle at both ends. He has a lot on his mind, and he walks the street at night. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean there? But you know, he's in the blue thing. What does it do with Lou Graham and blue?
Maybe he was out of the streets for a living, Stevie. I don't know. Yeah.
He ain't got you under his thumb.
Yeah, there is Midnight Blue. Yeah, you're right.
Midnight Blue. I mean, his solo album in '89 was called True Blue Love. I mean,
like blue, man. Cowboy fan. He's always blue.
Like, but you know, it's kind of a. This sounds like a kind of a. I mean, it's depressing.
Well, Monday's, anything with Monday is.
Yeah, and blue inside the head of a guy who can't sleep and is definitely pleading with his girl, trying to keep her from leaving. Okay, so Blue Morning, Blue Day is number 5 for me.
Well, my number 4 is Blue Morning, Blue Day. I think this song is. I don't think it was a big hit for them. I think it was probably an album rock. They played on the radio, but not as much as the other ones. Because I remember discovering this one too, and this one wasn't a big hit because it's not really. It doesn't sound like Foreigner. It sounds like it's not really a Foreigner song. I think
it actually went to number 15. Believe it or not.
So it was a single.
Yeah.
Oh wow, my bad. I get what I know.
And one of these guys is rated Blue Morning, Blue Day. Who is Wardlaw? Who is it? Sounds like a.
So
is that Ward to it?
Is it number 15 on the pop charts or like the album rock charts?
Billboard 100.
Oh wow.
And
never mind what I just said.
It was released, guess on blue vinyl as a 45 record. It was blue.
Go
vinyl.
figure.
Back in the day, they would do blue vinyl. I guess it wasn't just a thing nowadays. But yeah, I mean it's not. But you know, it came out in '78. So back and it wasn't on Foreigner Records, so I wasn't familiar.
No, it wasn't.
With it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't familiar with it until I came across it. You know, going through the essential stuff. But
I remember I liked this song so much that it wasn't on a greatest hits. I had to go out and buy the album. I remember that. That's what I did.
Yeah. So number 4 for me, and you're probably going to be surprised this wasn't higher up on my list, but probably what got people really in the 80s checking out Foreigner, what put them over the top is Waiting for a Girl Like You. The song was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. It was on freaking Footloose, I think, had it up there. You know, it was on Foreigner 4, of course, that great album. But I'm reading some of the stuff they're talking about this album. There's a song, and this is what Mick Jones said. There's a song called "Waiting for a Girl Like You," which I literally had no control over. It just came out. I had no idea what it meant, but it got to the point where I couldn't even be in the studio when we were recording it sometimes. It left such a deep impression on me. But it ended up being a song that brought a lot of people together. I hear these days that it's a song that a lot of people play at their weddings. Yep. Wedding songs. It's the kind of song that the pen does the writing and you don't even know where it came from. But I feel that it's stuff that's floating around at times and you have to grasp it. It's kind of
very soulful song. Very soulful song.
Guess who plays the synthesizer intro to that song? And I mean,
Herbie Hancock.
Close. Close. Who was another in the early 80s, a guy that you would think about with, and you may not think about him with, but he's a one-hit wonder in the 80s. And
Herbie Hancock was a one-hit wonder, but
yeah, but that's why I said you were close.
When you say synthesizer, that's the only thing I can think of is Herbie Hancock.
Thomas Dolby.
Oh, Blinded Me with Science. Oh wow.
Yeah. He did the intro to it. He did it as a favor to Mutt Lange, and Mutt Lange came and
I wonder how many of these rock stars and these musicians did a favor. I wonder if they got paid. I hope they did.
And look, it said that Dolby, listen to this now, Dolby would later work with Mutt Lange on another album, Def Leppard's Pyromania.
I see that.
So She Blinded Me with Science Guy is on Pyromania. And then Mutt Lange said, okay, I'll sing backup on She Blinded Me with Science.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. So, and maybe the biggest, listen to this too, before we stop talking about this one, and it may be on your list, I don't know, but maybe the biggest hit single in U.S. chart history that never made it to number one. It spent 10 weeks at number two, but had the misfortune of peaking at the same time as Olivia Newton-John's even more massive hit, Physical, which spent 10 weeks at the top spot. But even when Physical fell out, I Can't Go For That by Daryl Hall and John Oates leapfrogged ahead of this song to number one spot. The week after that, Centerfold by the Jay Giles Band knocked Hall and Oates out. The only other song that has matched that, being number two for so long, was Missy Elliott in 2002, Work It.
Don't know it.
Yeah, I know it, but it's all right. I don't have to hear it.
See, so, I wouldn't put that song with those other ones like that. Like, I don't think this song is as good as those other ones you mentioned, but that's why it's on my honorable mention.
Right.
I think it's great. I think it's great. He's a great singer in it, but I mean, I Can't Go For That. Hall & Oates, dude.
Yeah.
And another reason it probably didn't make my list is, you know what, dude? I'm still waiting.
Oh, Lord.
I'm still waiting, man. Stevie, if I can meet a girl like you, I've been waiting for a girl like you.
Easy breezy.
Not physical.
Yeah.
All righty. Speaking of girls, nothing is better than your first time. I don't care what anybody says. And that's not just sexual. I mean, when anything's new, it's great.
Yeah.
Like the first time, I mean, things kind of get old, you know. I mean, feels like the first time. It's new, and it's most of the time it's great when it's new. I mean, that could be a girl. I mean, I guess that could be, getting a new car, getting a new job, new TV show. I remember speaking of Friends, Matt LeBlanc, when Friends broke, I liked Friends. And there are a lot of people in generation after us that try to, discount it. But it was a Generation X. It was a great show. I don't care. I've seen everybody, so I don't like it. Shut up. And if you don't like it, I mean, I've never seen everybody likes Raymond, but there's people that like it. This is not my deal. I don't cut it down.
Nope.
But I remember Matt LeBlanc said, you know what? This is all great and everything, but it's new. Next year will be season 2 and it'll be a job. I mean, they got paid a lot of money for that job.
Exactly.
But he's got a point. Things when they're new and fresh, it's like, It's awesome. And this song is like that. It feels like the first time. I mean, probably not the first time you smoke a cigarette. That's bad. It makes you cough. I mean, first beer, it's probably not so great because you don't like to taste the beer, but most of the time you do your first thing, it's great. I think this song is totally about sex, but that's just me. Just hope it wasn't about the girl on cover of Head Games, just saying.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Joe, if that's the case.
I guess the statute of limitations would have expired by now from 79, I guess. But
well, I mean, it'd be one thing if she was on there, but she's provocative. I mean, it's like, God, what were you thinking?
15 years old too.
Then again, our favorite band sings a song that, I won't repeat on this show.
Yep. So number 3 for you was Feels Like the First Time, which that is not on my top 10 list. And,
oh, well, that's like the first, I think, one of the first.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, it's on my honorable mention, my 30 honorable mention. My number 3, Hot Blooded. It reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 178.
Chicken C.
Check it and see. Got a peep of
103.
Chicken of the sea.
Chicken
Is
C.
that Jessica Simpson? The chicken.
That's what Jerry Cantrell thought they were saying.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Also was a theme song to the True TV scripted series Tacoma FD. Lou Graham talked about it, said we used to work at Mick's apartment and he would just keep playing one guitar riff after another, just playing whatever came into his mind. When he started playing that riff, I remember saying, wait, stop, what's that? And Mick said it was just another riff. So I started singing along to it. We eventually got the idea of what the chorus would be, and then started working on the verse lyrics. Once they were put together, it naturally led it to the hot-blooded verbal line. I remember we were jumping off the walls when we cracked the title of the song. So
it's amazing how musicians together, they can hear something in their head and they're like, hey, what did you just say here? And it's like, it's I don't have that gift. I mean, I don't either. But it's just amazing. Like, what did you say? And they can play a riff. Like, I used to have a buddy of mine. I did take guitar lessons at one time. It was a waste of money, kind of like my hair transplant. And he was like, he would say that he would go there and he would, like, when he's just on his guitar, and I think Kirk Hammett does this, that he'd have to have the recorder every time, and he would, like, be so pissed at himself if he didn't have the recorder on because he could play a riff and later it became a song.
Yeah,
I don't have that gift. I don't remember names, and I definitely probably wouldn't remember music.
Well,
it's just musicians are a different breed, bro. They're just this just shows you how talented they are.
Yeah. Which Tone Loc song was it that sampled Calling Dr. Love? Was it Funky Cold Medina?
Calling Dr. Love? You mean Christine 16?
Christine 16, excuse me.
Funky Cold Medina.
Okay, so then they sampled this in there too.
Yep.
So Funky Cold Medina, Tone Loc can thank Foreigner and Kiss for having a big hit with Funky Cold Medina.
I remember when I first heard that song and I heard the Hot Blooded and I was like, this is the late 80s. And I was like, and I was like stumped. I was like, what is that? Because we couldn't go to YouTube back then.
No, you couldn't Google it.
And there was nobody, I mean, it's like, and it took me a day. I mean, I was already a Kiss fan, but obviously in the 80s, and and I was like, yeah, and I was like, it took me a while, but I mean, hey, I mean, it got but I remember everybody talking about Hot Blooded, but I don't remember people talking about Kiss.
No,
it's like, yeah, that's Kiss too. Oh, they sample Hot Blooded. Well, they sample Kiss too. The drum, dun dun dun. Dum. That's probably my. Next to Boomerang, probably one of my least favorite Kiss songs. It's just so creepy. It reminds me of the Kiss Me Savannah on the Park where they're playing in the background. Those guys are like oogling that chick. It's like, yeah, dogs. Yeah. But Love Gun is probably one of my favorite. I love the album. Won't go to school again. All righty.
Hooligan.
My number 2, is that what we're up to?
Yep.
Well, my number 2 is a repeat. You talked about the keyboards, but I like the guitar beginning in the middle, that long, long way from home. Okay. I'm looking out for the two of us. I always kind of thought, well, he'd like, looking out for his brother, and I mean, and that's how I always kind of took it. Well, I'm looking out for the two of it. I was like, is that I mean, you don't really say that about a girl, do you? I mean, it's like you just somebody. I mean, I guess you do, but I always took that like it was about a relative or something that wasn't his girlfriend.
He's a long way from home, but it seems like he's missing home. But who's the other one he's looking out for?
But I don't think that's his girlfriend because
I mean, even if his girlfriend or his brother, if he was with them, he wouldn't be missing home so bad, would he? He'd have somebody, but I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's a different song, but I like that. I love that guitar bit in the middle. That I like that. That was another song that was off records that I really jammed. When on record, it was off records, yeah.
I think so.
Most of mine were probably off records. Well, not all of them, I guess.
No, not Soul Doctor.
Or I Don't Want to Live Without You, Stevie.
So my number 2, and you probably thought this was my number 1. But no, I didn't put a ballad number 1 this time. I want to know what love is.
Mm.
The quintessential Foreigner song, I guess. And you think about it, and this is when they started writing the wedding song.
Wedding singer songs.
I mean, it's not Waiting for a Girl Like You. I wouldn't pretty much consider that the start of the wedding song. I'd pretty much put this one there at the start of the wedding song. But I mean, what can you say? It was a big, humongous,
it was massive. It was huge. I mean, you couldn't get away from it.
No, it was everywhere. I mean,
it was like that. It was like that damn Bryan Adams song. That's what it reminded me of. That Hit from Hell. That I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I do everything.
I'm just looking at the charts here. It charted everywhere. No, of course, number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 1 Main Street Rock. They say that Lou Gramm was worried after this that Foreigner was kind of losing their rock reputation, and they were going more adult contemporary with
They lost me. They lost me.
You know, so.
But what do you do? I mean, it's a great song. I mean,
you got to adapt with the times. I mean,
it's not one of my favorites, but my God, Lou Gramm sings his heart out of this song.
Yeah. And then you got the whole choir singing at the end behind them. I get the keyboards. You'll never guess, and I know you will never guess who does the keyboard work on the song. And he was, I guess, he was a member of a group in the early 80s that had maybe a couple of hits. There's a 3-piece group.
Is he known? Is he like, do I know his music?
You would if you heard it. Yeah, you would definitely know it if you heard it.
Are they a rock band or what?
No, they're not a rock band.
But they had hits, so they are country.
They had probably a couple of hits that I know of.
I don't know. You got me stumped, bro.
The Thompson Twins, you remember them?
Oh, I remember Hold Me Now. Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
Hold Me Now. Doctor, yeah.
The guy that was a singer for them, Tom Bailey, did the keyboard work on that. So they had a lot
some
of
good songs. I like them.
Yeah.
They had a lot of people doing that, like that guy that was in Mr. almost became a member of Kiss. I mean, that's crazy, right?
Ferris guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at some of those, I mean, this has got a lot of you remember Jennifer Holliday?
No.
She played she never really got big. They tried to push her, but she was in that play Dreamgirls. She's an R&B singer. She sung for Michael Jackson. She's in that choir.
She in the one in that wasn't Eddie Murphy in that?
What?
Dreamgirls.
She did the play. She wasn't in the movie.
My ex-roommate did that play.
Yeah. Your ex-roommate did it.
Yeah, he did it and he wanted me to go see it. And it's like, I don't do plays, bro.
No.
No, he was an actor. Yeah.
But
no, he was straight. He was straight.
This was, let's see. Mick Jones said, I want to know what love is. Start off on a more personal level. I've been through a lot of relationships that eventually failed and still searching for something that could really endure. And that sort of took a life of its own as well. It became more of a universal feeling. I adjusted that during the recording of it, ended up putting a gospel choir on it. And,
that's what they do in concert. They have high school choirs.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I want to know what love is. That's my number 2.
Yeah. Like you think about, is there ever a time they don't do that song? I mean, that's the money winner right there. That's their number. That went number one, right?
Oh yeah, that was definitely number one.
Yeah, it didn't make any of my list. I mean, I'm not taking away from the song. It's just not Foreigner to me. I guess. I mean, I wouldn't compare it to like, what was that Aerosmith song, that debauchery song they did, that I Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Oh, from
yeah.
Armageddon.
I mean, I wouldn't put that in the same category. But this, I don't hate this song. I just don't care for it.
Right.
I hate that Aerosmith song. And Aerosmith's one of my favorite bands, so it's not that bad to me. It's a great, and Lou Gramm sings his ass off.
Oh yeah, he does.
I actually like the Kiss ripoff of that song more than I like the Aerosmith song, because I was a DJ and I had to play that damn song. And
Which song?
I Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
You like the Kiss version?
I like the one where he tried to rip off that one more than I like the Aerosmith song.
You liked?
I don't think it's a bad song. Nothing can keep me away from you. I don't think it's a bad song at all. Paul's trying too hard.
But
Paul's trying too hard. He's trying to be Steven Tyler.
Yeah, he wanted.
But then again, I don't hate that. I don't hate that We Are One, and I don't hate that Peter Criss song either.
Don't mention that Steven Tyler.
I know, but I don't.
Family.
Yeah, but I don't hate that. I don't hate that. You know what I'm talking about, right? That
I know.
But I hate that Aerosmith song. All right, my number one. Well, it's a good thing we have patience. It's taking us a while to get there. And I want to talk about this song earlier because it was extremely urgent.
Okay, I guess.
I love the beginning, that that beginning, the beginning. I love that. And I remember going to you remember they have a thing up there called Maverick Market? Do they have those up there, like a little convenience store? Well, they had things up here. This is back in the Corpus days, and back in the 80s, so I lived coast to coast. And I remember my mom listening to it there, and I actually walked to the convenience store to get me a Slurpee. They had the Slurpees. And they were playing Urgent on the thing. I was like, hey, man, I heard on the radio, man. It was like, man, that's a great song. And back when I used to listen to terrestrial radio, like, because I have a work van, and it's like $19.99. It's like the 1999 Spurs van. And I had no windows or nothing. So that, hey, there was a van so with no windows. That's probably me. You know? It's an older van, and it has like 64,000 miles. I don't drive it all the time. But, man, when there'd be a radio on, I'd put it on, and I'd jam that thing. I love this song. It's a song I heard most of the time, but this is my favorite all-time Foreigner song. I just love this song. And doing this research, I found out Mutt Lange did it. Like, wow, that's amazing. And I didn't know that. I honestly, until I did this research, it's like, wow, Mutt Lange did it.
Mutt Lange. That might be a show we have to do one day.
Oh, top 10 Mutt Lange songs, yeah.
No, or just exactly.
God, can you imagine if he would have done like Dynasty or even Unmasked or something like that?
If he'd have just done any Kiss album.
But Gene and Paul, I mean, it's funny. They finally waited on Nevison to do it, and it didn't work out. So maybe it wouldn't have worked out. Who knows?
Yeah. All right.
But maybe in their prime, God, they didn't work good with Ezrin, Peter, and Ace. Can you imagine Mutt Lange? I bet he's probably even a more. Mutt Lange wasn't all probably coked up either. You know,
he probably would have walked out on them with some of that crap.
Because Ezrin let him get away with a lot of stuff because he was an addict at the time.
Well, Ezrin, when he was doing Destroyer, was like a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he probably wasn't as much as he was on.
Ace and Peter didn't like it either. They didn't like being told what to do.
I don't know. I think Mutt Lange would have probably been a little bit harder because I don't think he didn't have a substance abuse. The dude's like a vegan. Yeah. He's like very clean living, you know. So you're right. They probably wouldn't have worked out.
He'll cheat on his wife, though. Never mind.
Our loss.
Number one for me, and it's not a ballad, but this is a great song off Foreigner 4. I can't believe it didn't make your list. I hope it is on honorable mention. But Jukebox Hero. Freaking awesome song. I mean,
it's on my honorable mention.
Jeez. Song was written by Jones and Graham. They had an interview with Mick Jones. He said it stemmed from an experience that we had in Cincinnati. We gone to the arena for a sound check, and it was pouring down rain. There were a bunch of fans waiting at the door when we went in. When we came back for the show later on, all that was left was one lonely fan, a young guy, waiting in the rain, soaked to the skin. I thought, well, he's waiting like 5 hours here. Maybe we'll take him in and give him a glimpse of what happens backstage of the show.
So
and
were they huge? Were they big already? Were they already big?
Well, it had to be before Foreigner Fort, so they were probably coming off the 70s stuff.
They were still pretty big.
Yeah, they were still big. I mean, big enough where a guy would wait 5 hours in the rain for him.
Yeah.
He said the kid was just mesmerized with everything. I saw this look in his eyes. I thought, he's seeing this for the first time. He's having this experience. And I just imagined what was going through his mind. I'd been toying with this title, Jukebox Hero. I thought it was almost a satire on what we did, how it was perceived from an audience level in public. That's how it originated. But yeah, I mean, dude, this actually Lou Graham said this was his favorite, one of his favorite songs to perform, but it's also the hardest to sing live. Can you imagine hitting that note at the end when he goes up so high? Yeah, I mean, that's got to be tough. But Jukebox Hero is my number one.
Okay, my honorable mentions: Cold as Ice, Waiting on a Girl Like You, Rev It on the Red Line, about racing cars, I guess, before Fast and Furious was cool. Hot Blooded, but the live version I was talking about used to be on records. Jukebox Hero, great air guitar song. If there's an air guitar song, this is it.
Yeah.
Because just that loud, that heavy guitar and stuff. I think with this one, it kind of made my honorable mentions because it's so fatigued. Because I probably paid the hell out of it. I'm just fatigued with it, I guess. Dirty White Boy. I always thought that would have been a good wrestling entrance. And I think there was a team called the Dirty White Boys.
There was a wrestler called the Dirty White Boy. Yeah.
There was a team called Dirty White Boys, and I think he went solo.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they did it. And my other number one mention, I don't know if you probably know this one, is when Foreigner kind of went metal. After, I guess, I Don't Want to Live Without You era, Low Down and Dirty.
I have not heard that.
It's on, they have an album. I don't think it's not with Lou Graham. It's with another singer. It's like late 80s. It's kind of like, you remember Bad Company, how they did Holy Water and stuff?
Yeah.
They did that route. They got a new band, a new singer. And it's called Low Down and Dirty. It's not Lou Graham, but it's almost metal, this song. Look it up. It's pretty good. I don't know who sang it.
Well, it would have to be on.
It was after that one.
No, it's not on that one. Had to be in 90 Unusual Heat.
Yes.
Low Down and Dirty. The singer. Johnny Edwards. Only album with lead singer Johnny Edwards.
Yep.
And he sang for the bands Buster Brown, Montrose.
Oh, wow. Sammy?
King Cobra, Wild Horses, Northrop, Royal Jelly, and is best known for the second lead singer of the rock band Foreigner.
Yep.
It didn't last long because I think by 94, Lou Graham was back in.
Yeah, 90. Yeah, that's when they did. That's when they did Soul Doctor and all that. They got back together.
Yeah,
but they kind of did that. They kind of did that. Bad Company thing with Holy Water and what was that other song they did? Holy Water and yeah, that was a good album.
Gosh, what's the name?
Feels Like I'm Walking on Holy Water. No.
Yeah, I remember that one. I'm trying to think.
They had a ballad too that was pretty big too. They had a good run. Bad Company did a lot better than Foreigner. But I mean, to me, it's not Bad Company without Paul Rogers. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah. When I heard, Holy Water the first time, I was like,
I like that song though.
Yeah, I did like the song.
That was
Brian
metal.
Howe. Is that his name?
But they had that If You Needed Someone or something like that. They had a ballad that was big too.
That's what I'm looking
for. They played before grunge shit, they played the hell out of that stuff. Seems like all those old guys like Damn Yankees, they were all like getting new bands, you know what I mean? The early 90s, right before grunge shit.
I'm trying to see which one the ballad was, because I can't remember the name of the ballad now.
If You Need Someone, I think it's like.
If You Needed Somebody.
Yeah, If You Needed Somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that one?
Yeah, I did know that one.
Yeah.
All right.
And Holy Water, and then that no Without a Flame or something like that. They had like 3 singles that were, I don't know if it was 1 hour or 2.
Walk Through Fire.
Something that was Holy Water.
Walk Through Fire. If you need,
Did they have more than one album? If you need somebody, they have more than one album with that guy.
Him? Yeah, I think so. They had a couple of them, I think.
There's like, oh, there's nothing without
No
a
Smoke
flame.
Without a Fire.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bad Company had a little good run without old Paul Rogers there. I guess had some hits.
Yeah, they went a different direction, which, I mean, at that time a lot of bands had to go in a different direction. You had to adapt. But
Yeah.
I guess Paul Rogers didn't want to go that route. He went to the Firm and did his thing. So so that is our top 10 foreigner songs. So if you agree or disagree, let us know. If there was something we did put on our list, like I said, I told you this was probably going to be the most boring list because, you know, the hits are what it is. Worden had a couple of deep cuts on there, but mine was pretty much
Foreigner is like, it's probably like you like Journey. I like Foreigner. They're one of my favorites. I get into a point where I'll just play Foreigner a lot. I do that with bands like Maiden and Aerosmith. I mean, just some bands that I grew up listening to that I just
I like
Foreigner.
I like Foreigner, but you know, but they're pretty much the same as Journey. I mean, same kind of.
Yeah, both great singers.
Yeah,
who couldn't get along with the rest of their band.
Well, now I don't know if you see it now.
Well, what's going on with that thing now?
Arnell, the Arnell Panada, the current lead singer is pretty much saying, all right, I'm tired of this BS. You know, either get it together or maybe I need to go.
They're not the same singer that they had back in the 90s, but they had that big, like, didn't have a documentary on it. He was an Asian guy, right? Didn't they have
he's
like
Asian. They found him on YouTube. He was in a Journey.
Whatever happened to that guy? Did he just leave too? Or
Steve Buscemi?
Yeah.
He's still around.
But aren't they going on tour? Aren't they going on tour, Foreigner?
Yeah, they're already on tour.
Or not Foreigner,
Journey.
Aren't they on tour with somebody who's a
Toto?
One-hit wonder, right?
Toto had some good songs, dude.
Yeah, one-hit wonder, didn't he?
Rosanna.
Africa. Didn't they do Africa?
Africa. Then they had
more than one.
What was the other one? It was a ballad. I Won't Hold You Back.
I don't know it. I probably know it if I heard it.
Yeah, you would. You would. Because by the name, it's kind of, I mean, when I hear the name, I was like, where did that come from? But there's another one too. And I can't think of the name of it right now because when I heard the name, I was like, I'm not familiar with that song. But then when I listened to it, I was like, okay, I got it.
I remember Howard Stern had David Arquette on there one time. He goes, what do you think about all these songs written about how hot your sister is? Like Rosanna. And shut up, Howard. Your sister's hot. Shut up, Howard. Former WCW champion, David Arquette.
The biggest mistake.
Well, you talk about
mistakes in WCW history.
That had to be the lowest point. I remember I went and saw Ready to Rumble because a buddy of mine, I was like, nah, I don't want to go see it. Come on, dude. He's like, nah, I don't want to see it. I went and saw it. It was horrible.
It was horrible. I've watched that one time, and that was the first time I saw it. After that, not again. Maybe I need to check it out.
You're not missing nothing. No, it's not good.
Well, I know I'm not missing them, but the guy that played the Jerry the King Lawler ripoff wrestler.
Oh yeah,
is now in Chicago Med. Yeah,
wasn't he?
He's one of the Three Musketeers.
He liked one of the guys. Oh, Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Let's do it all for love. Right? That one.
Yep, that was it.
Rebecca De Morey. Gosh, she was hot. All righty. I don't know how I got. She's in the movie. Remember that? Kiefer Sutherland was with her. She got hung or something like that.
You getting off on her.
That was a good movie, man. I like that. I like that song. I love that song.
I haven't watched that movie since the first time I saw it either, so maybe that's another one I need to check out again.
No, you go back and watch those movies and they just don't live up to. Like I watched Ford Fairlane. I love that movie, and I'm like, God, this is.
I
Horrible.
love Ford Fairlane.
It's like now, no.
I watched the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie the other night. That was good.
I think I saw one of them.
The first one was the only one I read because once you had Vanilla Ice in there singing a rap song called "Go Ninja,
Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go."
No. But Kevin Nash was actually
Punisher,
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder.
Yeah.
Well, he played the Punisher too in the movie, right?
Yeah, he played the Punisher, but he was Super Shredder in the Turtle movie.
I saw one of those movies because I was already 17, 18. I was like, I was not into it. Let's go see this. Like, that's a kid's movie, dude. Home Alone's playing. Let's go see that instead. That's a kid's movie, kid.
I'm looking right now, and we were talking about SmackDown's going to be in Canada, and how popular Sami Zayn is. He's got on the ice shooting, taking shots at Montreal Canadiens game. He's out there with a mascot. They give him a jersey. They give him a shirt. He's posing with all the players. So he's living life.
They got to be real careful with Cody because they may have another Dave Bautista with Daniel Bryan moment. And I see that happening because I like Cody, but I expect him to be champion. So it's like it would almost be better if Roman beats him. But are they going to do a 1, 2, 3 kid with Sammy? I mean, they're going to make Roman look weak. I mean, you don't know.
I don't know.
I knew that Jimmy couldn't get in the country, but I didn't know Jay had DWIs too. But
they both did.
They both did. Which one is the married to Naomi?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. And I didn't know that the other guy was their brother. I thought it was like their cousin or something. The guy with the spike.
Solo.
It's like, oh, his brother. I was like, what? That's his brother too. One of the bet. I'll leave on this one. How great is Paul Heyman in these promos?
Like, that's what he did with when he was talking about Dusty.
Yeah, there was one when they couldn't find Jay. It was the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble, and it was where Roman's talking to him. Hey, go to the bus, and I got you some steaks and some sushi. Boss man, what's his name? Smart man, or what do they call Paul Heyman? Wise man got us some steaks and stuff. And Jim was like, "Oh yeah, thanks, wise man." And the look on freaking Paul Heyman's face is like, he's just so great. To like when that girl was doing that wrestling intro, Undisputed. She was doing that girl that's the announcer and stuff, and you could just see Paul Heyman looking at her. He was impressed, man. That girl's got some pipes on her. She's good.
Yeah, she does. She does.
So I'll be watching Elimination Chamber this weekend. Stevie, you gonna be watching it?
I'll be watching as long as I can. I've got to work Sunday morning early, so I'll be watching. Hopefully, it won't last till 12:30 like the Royal Rumble did.
And we don't have any Hardys playing. God, that was horrible.
Good God.
I'm old. Yeah. I'm old, but man, that sounded like
everybody.
That sounded like me doing karaoke sober. I sound a lot better drunk, believe me.
Everybody said that was horrible.
And to put it on right before the main event, that was just wrong.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be back to another WWE show.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, that's going to do it for this week on the fly. Next week, we're going to be having a surprise for you guys.
Where can they find us, Stevie?
They can find us anywhere they want to. They can find us on any of your podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, Podchasers, Good Pods, wherever you listen to your podcast. Chances
YouTube.
Yep, we got a YouTube channel. Check that out. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on our Facebook groups at the On the Fly Facebook groups in the all things rock, hard rock, and metal, and then that 80s page. Check us out there, and feel free to message us if you see us on Facebook or whatever. Message us, let us know what you think.
Just not about 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't do that.
Yeah. Which I'm not going to have my phone close enough where it's going to ding to me right then. But we've had some good response. I want to send a shout out to Marty White, who is one of our big supporters on YouTube. He watches the YouTube ones every week, and
Thanks,
he gives us some comments. And a lot of people have picked up on Twitter on us, and we appreciate it. We got a lot of good things that were said on Twitter here in the last couple of weeks. I will be making some appearances on other podcasts coming up here shortly. This week, one of my buddies from Playlist Wars, they've taken a break from Playlist Wars and gone out on their own for a little while. I guess they're kind of doing the Kiss solo albums. So we're gonna be talking. Me and Gomez are gonna be talking.
Gomez from the Addams Family.
Yeah,
you know Gomez from the Addams Family, Stevie.
Him and it too. We're gonna be talking about next week. Mel Brooks puts out History of the World Part 2. We're gonna be talking about that. Yeah, it's not going to be in a movie. It's going to be a series. But yeah, he's been saying it for you ever since History of the World Part 1 came out. At the end when they said coming on History of the World Part 2, I've been waiting because History of the World Part 1 is such a funny movie.
I've never seen it.
You need to watch it, and then you'll have to watch the podcast because what we talk about is yeah. I don't want to give too much away right now.
If there's ever, if I can suggest a Mel Brooks movie, if you haven't seen it,
Silent movie.
That movie's great.
I've got it I've made a list of movies I need to watch, and that's on my list. But yeah, I'm gonna be on that, and then there's talk of a couple more that have asked me to be on some sports podcasts and some different podcasts that I'm gonna be on, but some coming in May. Nothing really soon. So but except the Gomez one. But check it out, guys, and we appreciate your support. Worden, we'll see you around, bud. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, guys. You guys stay safe, and we'll see you next time on The Fly.
See ya.